nice.
And somebody, I think it's Daniel, who said, can we make them now more concrete, actionable, that they are real? So I think some of the things which I'll be harnessing from this presentation are such. Because of time and because of the way we have reorganized our morning session, I'll now call upon Dr. Vimal Chal, who is a chair of BITCO Africa, to speak about pillars of sustainable agriculture in that regard. Thank you so much. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, Honorable Cabinet Secretary, Dr. Andrew Karanja, all diplomatic corps, all the diplomats, distinguished guests, farmers, and fellow participants. It's an immense pleasure, actually, to stand before you today at the National Agriculture Summit. Probably a momentous gathering where we will explore and deliberate on the cornerstones of sustainable agriculture in Kenya. Our journey towards agricultural prosperity is not merely a goal. I think it's a shared mission that demands our collective efforts and unwavering commitment. And Dr. Karanja, we are glad that we have an economist and an agriculturist as a minister who's just come in, so that our expectations are much more higher. I'm going to speak about the pillars of sustainable agriculture, and I think I want to redefine something about sustainable agriculture in terms of what it means to us right now. So I'm going to speak about 5 pillars that I want to introduce here. Sustainability is often defined through the lens of the triple bottom line: people, planet, and profits. This concept emphasizes that for an economy to thrive continuously, it must balance social equity, climate adaptability, environmental health, and economic profitability. In other words, sustainable practices ensure that our actions today do not hinder the prospects of future generations. As mentioned by our friend from GIZ, agriculture today is significant. And I think it's important to say it plays a pivotal role in Kenya's economy, contributing approximately 34% of our GDP. This sector employs more than 40% of the total population, and about 70% of rural residents rely on agriculture as their primary source of livelihood. So these figures highlight the critical importance of agriculture, not only as an economic driver, but also as a cornerstone of social stability and environmental stewardship. So if we were to look at the pillars for sustainable agriculture in Kenya today, I would start with pillar number 1, policy coherence. Our first pillar is policy coherence. Currently, the government of Kenya, as we all do, faces challenges of navigating a myriad of policy instruments from various quarters. The Ministry of Trade and Investment introduces price controls. The National Nuts and Oils Crop Development through AFA produces a whole new different regulation, while Parliament proposes multiple legislations, all targeting the same farmers and stakeholders, like the Mung Bill and the Horticultural Bill that are in Parliament today, or probably been released or whatever. This fragmented approach not only creates confusion, but also hampers competitiveness, what Carol talked about, because competitiveness is key. Additionally, we must be vigilant to avoid resurrecting the license Raj, and I call it license Raj, you can Google it, system which was practiced during the British colonial governments, where licenses were required for everything. And they were issuing licenses only to select people in order to keep others out of the activity, so as we dominate there. It seems like we have adopted that in a big way in Kenya, and I think we need to do away with that. Today, our farmers are faced with the burden of needing licenses for various activities, which only adds to their challenges. This must not be allowed, and we must champion for its rejection and avoidance. As Nelson Mandela once said, it always seems impossible until it's done. Let us strive for a unified and coherent policy framework, one that fosters an environment where our farmers can thrive. Data collection and information dissemination and registration is necessary. We agree with that. But it should be at zero cost to farmers. Yes, I said zero cost. Because this process can be digitalized. We can leverage on online platforms and devices to streamline operations. I ask you all a question. How much does it cost you to send an email or to fill up a form online? Zero. So let's do it in that manner. We will still get compliance. We will still get our data collection. We will still get to know who is doing what in agriculture. And we can then have policy instruments coming out that are coherent. So a streamlined policy landscape will reduce redundancies, eliminate conflicting directives, and ultimately make it easier for farmers to navigate and comply with regulations. Competitiveness is key here, and it's becoming increasingly difficult under the current circumstances. That is pillar number one.
Well, that is a function that is currently ongoing at the Kenyatta International Convention Center in regards to the agriculture sector network. In conjunction with the Ministry of Agriculture, the minister has already arrived, and once he starts speaking, delivering his keynote speech in that event, we'll be taking you there. It is totally about plastics exhibition. Now, we want to come back here to the studio and carry on with our conversation of the day.